Oh, hello. Greetings. Um, I just saw an interesting video from the Pressing Matters. Scott, nice guy, and he's thinking of downsizing. And there's no harden. Everyone's different. It's like I swapped my Beatles album collection for this laptop. I mean, I wasn't a huge Beatle fan. Don't get me wrong. I didn't have every single um, solo album. None of that. I'm talking Beatles and a couple of solos after that. But they were all originals, all had all the posters. They were in good nick. Bought them at the time, and some of them, my first single I ever bought was with my own money, hard earned. It was in 1964 when I was 13. It was uh, not to get the right. What was it? I like the B side better. I feel fine, and she's a woman. And actually, I bought two. I bought the Unit 4 Plus 2 as well. Um, Members of which went on to join Argent, etc. Anyway, getting off track. Yeah, it's a problem. It's like parting with those albums. I hardly ever played them, even when they were new. I mean, I was never a massive Beatles fan, but it was like oh man, it was really hard to do. It was just like they'd been there for 50 years, you know, 40 to 50, because they broke up in 1970. So it's a hard thing to do. And even though they were just stuck in the cupboard, lovingly, looked after and occasionally looked at and played, but it comes a time when you just, like I moved around a lot. This is probably my saving grace in that when I worked, I moved interstate a fair bit down here in Australia, and that entails huge distances. It's not like you just England where you just jump in your car and 5 minutes later you're in Scotland. No, it's nothing like that. Australia's about the same size as the USA, with about 1/100th of the population. So I tended to leave those in storage, at my parents' place whenever I went away for a few years, some to some other state. So yeah. Also, another thing I can say, a lot of you youngsters in your 50s, you're still, when I was in my 50s, I was still buying because I was living in Sydney, and the Temptations were there. There were great record shops everywhere. So I basically stopped buying and I moved out here to the country 12 years ago because it's just, there was a little record store here, but it was awful. It was just 99% country and bad country, not even Hank Williams. Um, so I was buying some through eBay, not lots, and I got a lot of good stuff about 10, 12 years ago on eBay cheap when postage was still quite acceptable, even internationally. But that's what I'm trying to say is do what you want. I mean, if it doesn't make you laugh or cry or tap your foot, it's not worth keeping. But there are some records I keep even though I never play them. I just because there's a specific memory of when I actually bought it. Like that Blank Generation by Richard Hell. I love that album. I played it about 20 times and I bought it, and that's it. It was just like it's a moment in time. And then I actually met him 10 years later, and it's like you should never meet your hero. He wasn't a hero, but he was just a human being. That's all with his own problems. But I can't part with it because it's just an iconic album. So I think the secret is to try and keep it, not to collect an artist everything they own. I've never done that except the Stones up until 1972, Exile on Main Street. So that's not too bad because they didn't. That's a 10-year period. Um, but there comes a time when you stop buying an artist's records. The minute they no longer turn you on, it's time to stop. And I do still do it. Believe it or not, I will go down to the local thrifties and buy something I don't need or even want. Just to, it's a bit like a junkie. What do you call it? It's just a way of alleviating the urge. I got something the other day. Something thought, oh, I love that song, "Turning Japanese" by the Vapors. Came out in 1980, and I was living in a flat which I really hated at the time. And it was one of the few highlights of my life was hearing that or seeing it on MTV. It used to cheer me up big time. I never bought it at the time, but just recently I looked it up on YouTube, and it's a great video clip. It's really good, high energy, fun. And I thought, wow, I didn't buy it at the time, and I want it, And I managed to find. I looked it up, and they're only international copies. They were too expensive postage. And then I looked it up again a week later, and there were 3 copies, Australian copies, and they all look great. And I snapped one up. It arrived. It looks immaculate, and that arrived 3 weeks ago. Guess what? It's in the spare room with my thousands of 45s. I haven't played it. You know, can you understand what I'm trying to say? um, and it's just that was a at least look, if you're going to collect 45s or CDs or whatever, because they take a lot less space. And I think I'm so glad I didn't get caught. Well, there's no way I would get caught up in this BS that's going on at the moment. I did have one mobile fidelity record, Abbey Road. I gave that to my nephew, who I swapped for his laptop. He's a Beatle fan. He's about 36 or something, young bloke. But um, and it was a very, very, very good sounding Abbey Road. I don't like Abbey Road particularly. I taped it. I thought, wow, this has got a really good sound. It's a late 70s MoFi. It was a really good sound. And I thought, no, I'll tape that. Even though I don't particularly like the album, it has such a good sound. I had to tape it just so if I want to listen to it again, it's there. The collecting in itself is not such a huge problem as what you collect. So I sort of diverted myself from albums by collecting stamps. They're a lot cheaper, and I actually love old stamps from, I've got a huge Hitler collection. I collect despots and people like Mussolini, Hitler, those sort of monsters. Like to see their face on a stamp, they seem so harmless, you know. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So yeah, there's a few people I've watched videos over the years. I mean, I've been part of the VC for 12 years. I only started making videos about 18 months ago because of COVID. I enjoyed watching them, and a lot of people have come and gone in the so-called VC in those 12 years. But I was right back there at the start with Derek Higgins. He's still going. He's made a video every day for 12 years. I stopped watching years ago because he always starts out well, and then he goes into a rant and a rave about how the black people are oppressed. And for fuck's sake, this is not the place or time. Anyway, he's a nice bloke, but I'm getting off track. Oh, that's what I had to say. This is very important. I'm 71, and I've had my eyes. It's no good having a really, really good audiophiles collection and fantastic gear when you get to my age, because you try to pick the stylus up and oops, oh cripes, and it jumps across the record and for me, vinyl's an absolute special occasion thing. I will treat myself, once or twice a year to listen to an album. I do play the occasional 45, but yeah, so I'm not one to tell someone to get rid of your collection or stop collecting. It's a hard thing, and it's a harmless thing in a way. It's not doing anyone any harm, but it owns you. You don't own it. That's all I'm saying. Everyone knows that. This is just me trying to pretend to be a kindly old uncle type. I don't give a rat's ass about any of you. Oh yes, I do. Yeah, so. Yeah, I won't. No naming names, but there is somebody in a country in Western Europe, somewhere near Belgium and Holland, and not far from Denmark either, who is accumulating at a rapid rate at the moment. I was subscriber number 6 to his channel, and I've watched every video he's ever made, and I enjoy them. But lately, it's just I can see big trouble down the track for him because what used to be 2 videos a week, with stuff that I could actually enjoy, like the old Blue Notes and things, now has become stuff that, I don't know, it's become an obsession now. I mean, it's obviously an obsession with this gentleman, but and if you can afford to do it and you enjoy it, good on you. But I can see trouble down the track for him. Anyway, look, I'm waffling on. Whatever I was supposed to say, I probably forgot to say. Anyway, good luck to anyone that wants to do it, and just be careful though, because I mean, look, everyone's, well, yeah, I got rid of those Beatle records, but I, I bought these Chinese bootlegs from China 10, 12 years ago, the monos, and they sound great. Okay, the packaging's awful, but so what? I play them once every few years when I'm drunk. You know, I even listen to the first album when I've had a few beers, and it reminds me of the innocence of being 12 when that came out. So all I'm saying is, if it's about too much stuff, just sell the vinyl and just get CDs versions. I don't know. It's not easy. Anyway, good luck to all those that do it. Good luck to you.